Mike, turn your games down.
Hi, we're doing another movie episode of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who's all with me tonight?
Oh, me. I'm Tiffany Albertin.
I'm Bill Tucker from A Gamer Looks at 40, and I would like, if I may, to take you on a strange journey.
And this is Jaime Tucker, and I am really taking my life in my own hands with this weather.
This is Kenneth Sanity.
Asshole. And I'm Minx Sanity.
Welcome. We have a very special episode tonight. We are covering a movie that Mike has never seen and Patreon voted for.
Of course they did.
And I also voted. I think I voted. No, I didn't vote for this. But we are here to cover the Rocky Horror Picture Show that came out in
Enunciate your words.
1975. Hey, I only talk for a living, so hey. And directed by Jan Sharman, if I said that right.
Yep,
75.
sure did.
Yeah, I did not. So somehow I have always skipped this movie on purpose. I've only one time, one of my first girlfriends mentioned watching this movie. I'm like, okay. No, before that. And then I never got around to it. And I never had a desire to watch this. That's why it's Patreon poll. And
I can see Tanya.
I could too, but it was someone else. So, Bill, what is your history with this movie? And Jamie?
Me, none. I had never seen this movie before.
What?
I'd never seen this. Don't yell at me.
I will. I will.
It's one of those things that has always kind of lived in the periphery of culture. I've always been around it, but I've never actually seen it. And we'll talk about my opinions on it as we move forward. But I get it. Let's just put it this way. I get it. I understand why it's a cult classic. I understand the importance. I don't think it's very good, but I get it. And I understand why it's so important. Yeah, that's my take on it. James has a bit more history than I am.
Yes. So I went to see Rocky Horror Picture Show every Friday night at midnight at Billy Joe's Picture Show in Des Moines, Iowa for 4 years. So I am exceptionally familiar with this movie and the entire culture around it.
Okay.
While we were watching it last night, she kept doing the other lines because when you watch this in a communal experience, you don't just watch the movie because why would you? It's midnight and everybody's in costume, and Jamie will talk more about it as we go on. But there's things you shout at the screen as the movie goes on. Everybody there knows these things, and Jamie kept shouting all the things at the screen.
I didn't shout. Our kids were sleeping.
You intoned. It was good. It was good though. And she kept saying, "Do you want me to do this?" I'm like, "This is great. I feel like I'm not wearing a corset or anything, but this actually is pretty fun." She knows all the extra lines. Great. So we'll have to get into that as we go forward. But yeah, James, I got a history. She's seen this. How many would you think? How many times do you think you've seen it?
Oh goodness, I wouldn't even know. Well over 100.
That's so good. Yo, Mr. Sanity, what's where did you line on this one, or what's your history?
Oh my God, this movie and I go way back. I probably saw this when I was about 12 or 13.
Same.
And I remember going to see it, shadowcast of it at the Rhodey Opera House in downtown Kenosha. It was actually the last year that they did it. Due to damage caused by audience participation, continued damage rather. Wasn't just one year, it was just all of them. But this movie was very instrumental on my experience growing up. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Okay.
Right. So same, about 12, 13-ish, the first time I saw it. Alone. I actually had a VHS copy and a TV, and in the middle of the night was like, this is a great thing for me to watch when my parents aren't paying attention to me.
Yeah.
There.
Also instrumental in my development, I can promise you that. I have never been to someone else's shadowcasting production of this. Unfortunately, I would love to. I have, however, put on a shadowcast-esque production of this with some clubs that I was in college. We dressed up, we brought props, we had the whole thing, and we had to get special permission from the theater to sell props.
Really?
Nice.
So Jane, were there props in your experience?
Yes.
I find this whole culture fascinating. I just want to let you guys know right off the bat, this whole thing to me is really interesting. So yes, yeah, props and the whole thing. That's cool.
Shadowcasts are great. We have one near us that we go to. They did this movie, but before I found out they existed, so I didn't see it.
So they're not going to do anything.
No, not anytime soon. But I get to see Twilight, so that was, made that movie actually halfway watchable. So.
There was a Shadowcast of Twilight?
Yes.
Is it all the glitter?
God, I can't
All
wait
the
to
glitter?
this
Yeah.
movie.
Sorry.
I
That was the
would have
best
watched
That's
it.
all went through my head. Bill's gonna hate this movie if I ever make him watch it.
No, thank you.
Mike, I love you. I'll see anything. I'll go anywhere with you, Mike. I'll go on any journey.
No, we'll do Twilight with us.
Well, I'll do Twilight. Robert Pattinson's actually a really good actor. Just no one knows about it.
I'll do all the Twilight movies with you guys. I have them.
Hard pass.
But anyway,
And Tiffany, since I forgot to ask you, what is your history with this movie?
I don't remember when I first saw it, but it's been well over 20 years since I've seen it, and I actually remembered songs to it.
You did. I was surprised.
I was too, but for some reason I didn't remember any of like the plot line or anything. I was like, oh, what's gonna happen?
What plot?
Oh, this but I was like, oh, I like this song. Oh, but I don't remember what comes next. Like,
All I could think of, this movie reminded me of another movie that you guys made me watch, Ken and Bill. They also had aliens eating people, so hey.
are you talking about Scarlett Johansson?
Of course I am. I'm not letting that go. I'm so
and
mad.
both with equally good soundtracks, just totally different. Obviously, so Jaime and those who have seen this in public, Mike and I are the virgins of this. Does anything bad happen to the virgins when you see this in public with people in costume?
Consistently.
Bad. No, there's nothing bad.
Listen.
I mean, it depends on your definition of bad. If you feel like getting spanked, well, then you're fine.
Right.
My kind of people.
Mike, we walked into a world that we're just not prepared for, I think.
Hey, again, this has been on my bucket list to finally watch this damn movie. I just didn't want to, and podcast gives me a perfect reason to do things I don't want to do. So
I'm glad I did. You know what? I'm very glad I did. We'll talk about it. I guess my first opinion of it is, again, I get this. I totally understand why it's important. I see why people love it. It's wonderful kitsch and camp. I've always said for a while that you can't create camp, and I think I have to back off of that after this movie, because this is meant to be, sensationalized and just campy. This is meant to be, and it does it beautifully, but it's also not great as a movie. I think this would be a much better play. I would love to see the musical of this. I think the musical would have been fantastic.
That's actually how it started.
Yeah, I would love to see a Broadway production of this. I think that would be super fun. I think it would translate better. That's my overall thesis take on it.
I just want to see talking plants say they're going to eat you instead when I sing a musical. So not this, but that's what I want to see again. But no, this was it was an interesting, like, watching this, having no idea what I was really, I knew kind of what it was about, but all I knew is that Tim Curry dresses up in drag.
Tim Curry was so good in this. Like, I just was mesmerized by him watching it since I haven't seen it forever, and I'm just like, he's so good.
And because I've been watching way too much RuPaul, I had to ask Tiff, did he tuck? Is it untucked? But watched way too much RuPaul in the last.
Now you know why I like RuPaul.
But yeah,
this was like RuPaul in its time.
That's unfortunately went through my head. I'm like, way too much RuPaul lately.
And, an important fact that we should probably discuss is the fact that this is Tim Curry's theatrical movie debut. Like,
Yeah,
this
I was
was
surprised.
the first taste that the movie-going public got of Tim Curry.
Was
And
he
he just-
also? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, he threw his all into this. Like, he
Oh, yeah.
loved this performance.
Yeah, just ass out, going full whole hog. It was
He
insane.
did. He really brought it in this movie.
Oh, he's fabulous.
The facial,
Fabulous.
everything with him, it was just incredible.
Oh, so good.
Now, so was he though in the original musical though? Because the musical came out 6 years before the actual film. Was he? I thought he was in the original cast of the musical. Am I wrong on that?
I think he was in at least one of the runs before this.
Okay.
If not
Okay.
all of them.
Okay, I thought so. So he had and a lot of the actors in the movie were from the original productions as well.
I don't know if I'd say a lot.
No,
Like-
well, I guess Susan Sarandon wasn't. And,
Yeah, Susan Sarandon wasn't. Barry Bostwick wasn't. Meatloaf
Wasn't.
did
Oh, yeah, good point.
play in like the Los Angeles version of the musical,
Meatloaf
Before the
was
movie?
fantastic as well. For his
but
onesie.
Lil Nell, who plays Magenta, she was in the play musical.
She was good in this too.
Oh,
and the guy who plays Riff Raff, he wrote it. Is it Richard
Yeah.
O'Brien? Am I right on that?
yes. Richard O'Brien.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
He
he actually.
go on to be one of the creepy, bald, evil thingies in Dark City.
I don't know Dark City.
I don't either.
Oh, you listen in Patreon? We got
How am I going to learn? I was going to say, is that going to be a thing we're going to learn?
See, I do control it. So I'm the one that puts what's on there.
You can't ever admit to not seeing something if that's not what you want to happen.
It's only this one year. So, okay. So I got a quick question for you guys. Because when I was watching the beginning of this movie, they have, I'm assuming that couple standing in front of the church door is supposed to be like because Tiffany pointed out, a like riffraff on that old painting with the woman and the farmer.
Yeah.
American Gothic, yeah.
Okay. Are those the same actors then that then play the butler and sister in the castle?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. I thought they looked. Okay. Cool. I was
There's
right.
also the grandmother that has the dark glasses on in the bridal party. She is one of the actresses that does the time warp.
Yeah, a
Oh.
lot of those wedding people are.
Yeah, I think the photographer is as well.
Mhm.
That's cool.
And
Yeah.
Weird Aunt is as well. It's like I was pointing him out, and I was like, that one, and that one, and that one.
And when you think about it, there's a really good reason for that. The entrance into Frankenfurter's castle is very much like just going into a new world. The first version I saw actually had that beginning scene in black and white.
Oh.
And when they go in, when the time warp starts up, it's all in color. It's very much Wizard of Oz. And
I
they
was just
wanted
gonna
this
say.
movie to be a
Yeah,
dark
right.
Wizard of Oz, which is why you have multiple people playing multiple roles.
Huh.
I like it.
That's cool.
Now, Bill asked me, and I was not sure, and I should have looked it up. Was the groom at the very beginning of the movie, was he Rocky?
No.
Oh,
No,
okay.
he was a much worse actor.
Because I was just kind of like, he asked me, and I was like, I don't know. I was like, and then you saw Brad do this weird double take with the glasses, and I'm like, well, now I have no idea. And I have to look it up. And then I got lost in a spiral of something about Rocky Horror Picture Show and lips and teeth. And I was like, it's fine.
I think Brad doing the double take was him realizing that maybe it twitched a little bit, and he was very confused about that feeling.
That's fair.
As we see later.
Oh,
I'm
boy.
less confused.
I do love that.
Don't tell Janet.
Oh, yeah, we'll get there shortly. Oh, the other thing I want to talk about, like with the church, I thought it was kind of funny how he proposes to her right after they just had a wedding. I don't know. I found that funny to me.
I've seen proposals at wedding receptions. It's the most
Yeah.
uncomfortable thing in the world.
Yeah, that's why it made me laugh.
Yeah, way to steal the scene there, couple. Great, thanks. This is
Hey,
our
he
day.
waited till he drove off.
Hey, I was
That's
trying
fair,
to
I guess.
convince
That's
Fabio to propose to Pixie at our wedding, and it did not happen.
No, also not
Oh,
his
Ken,
name.
Ken just said he's seen people actually propose at a reception.
That's
Mhm.
worse.
That's not good. That's
It's
no good.
horrible.
Throw him out. I just
Throw him out.
The end of it.
I had never heard of that in my life until we were dating and went to a friend of ours' wedding. And she pulled me aside and she's like, don't you dare get engaged. I was like, why would I? This is your wedding.
What?
Like, not about me. I was so confused. And then I found out more and more that actually happens. And I was like, what is, huh?
Rude and rude.
Like, if you're
That'll
going to
get people.
propose, pay for your own flowers.
Buy your
That's
own
right.
photographer.
But, you know, at the same time, there is something rather, frugal about it, right? Like, maybe do it at the wedding of somebody you don't like.
That
That's
would be
That's
great.
fine.
That would be great.
All right, Camille's third wedding, babe. I'll propose to
You're
you.
gonna propose again? Good. I still need my proposal. Damn
So,
it.
but okay, and then another thing that I was really thinking about when I kept watching this movie is like I couldn't get over like how young Susan Sarandon is in this movie because I've never seen her in anything else really, other than like I think it's Stepmom with Julia Roberts. It's the movie that always comes to mind.
It?
That's
Oh
the
my
movie that
God,
always
that's
comes to
like
mind when I think of
30
Susan Sarandon.
years after this.
That one, Louise.
Never seen it.
What?
So,
Oh my-
don't ask
This is
me.
what I have to live with, you guys.
Apparently, I didn't know what movies were to the 90s. I've come to that conclusion.
Yeah, Tiff, you know how many times Jamie has said that about me? This is how to live with. Every time she brings up an 80s movie and I had never seen it because
And you're
I
like,
don't know.
"What?"
I wasn't allowed to view things until I was like 12. I was in a hole in New Jersey. No media hit me except for Nickelodeon.
Well, same, except Mike was in Milwaukee, so.
Mhm. Yeah, I didn't watch movies, apparently.
That's no excuse. I'm in Kenosha and I've seen more movies than you'll ever watch in your life.
No, that's exactly why you've seen that many movies. It's because there's nothing else to do here.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't this
Like,
movie have a Milwaukee reference in it, too? I feel like this movie had a Milwaukee reference that I remember. Like, oh, I got to make a comment about that. Then I didn't write it down.
I don't remember.
Because I always make some Milwaukee references. Because, well, I'm from Milwaukee.
Oh, you should
Well,
watch last week's episode of Succession then.
Unless I'm confusing this with something else that I was watching, but I don't think so. I'm pretty sure there's a Milwaukee reference in this movie.
I'll go back and watch it again at some point. We'll put it on the Patreon.
That's neither here nor there. I just always pay attention to stuff like that. Like, I swear. But no, like, back with Susan Sarandon, like, she did a really good job in this film, though. Like, she does a great job, too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That is a woman that has definitely matured with age. Like, fine one. Fine one.
I also really like the song Janet.
Good
Like,
save,
that was just
started
great.
out kind of scary.
It just works so well.
I mean, obviously everyone's here though for Tim Curry, and he really does steal every scene he's in. And I think if someone here said he is having so much fun. It's rare to see an actor have so much fun on screen, so much to the point where almost everybody else fades into the background. And again, we'll talk about his performance and all the different things he does. But man, it's again, Susan Sarandon's great. The guy Bostic, was it Ben? Someone Bostic?
Barry Bostwick.
Barry Bostic. He's well cast as the Square.
Yes.
And he does a very good job at being over the top square. I love the fact in this movie, even if you're an understated character, you're still over the top. It's really good.
Yeah.
I really do appreciate that about this. Again, the kitsch and the camp that they're going for. They really nailed it.
And before we get too much further away from your statement, Bill, I want to address that you're saying that this isn't a good movie, but you get it.
Yes.
It's a riff on the old, like, 50s sci-fi movies. It's not supposed to be good.
Right. And that's kind of where I'm landing on it. That's why I had a very good time watching it last night for the first time. There's scenes in here, and when I say not good, I feel like the heartbeat of this movie is in the music, because the music is, for the most part, fantastic. I mean, I know Time Warp's been played 100 times. There's a reason. It's great. Like, it's a really good song. But there are moments in this movie where it really drags down, where the pacing lulls. And this is a movie that I think wants to just go rapid fire. So for that reason, I don't think it's 100% successful as a movie. But again, I get why this is so beloved by a lot of people, especially with inclusiveness. And, we'll talk about all that as well. I can see why this is important. I mean, this is in the National Registry of Movies. Like, this was inducted as an important aesthetic movie. Like, this is in an archive somewhere. I get it. I don't know if it's good, but like you said, Ken, it's probably not designed to be good. I get that.
Like, this is an important movie. If you look up queer culture in the dictionary, this movie is the first entry. 100%.
That's really cool.
Truth fact.
I mean, even the fashion, I was reading up on it. Punk rock fashion was heavily influenced by this movie. It was doing things with costuming that have never been really done before or seen outside of underground shows or something, right? Yeah.
Bedroom and queer culture.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. It really put it front stage, which again I really appreciate and think is really, really fun and cool. So again, I get it. I totally get it, Rocky Horror Picture Show fans. I'm not going to jump ahead. I don't know if I'll see it again, especially since I don't drink anymore. Boy, would this be a gas if I were drinking. This would be a lot of fun. But
yeah, I'm gonna have to try to get high and watch this movie again.
It would have helped probably.
Like, see it with a shadow cast at least once, and then you can say you probably won't see it again.
Yeah, there's actually a company here in Austin, Texas that still does a shadow cast of it. So we may have to attend.
Yes, please.
Shadowcasts are great.
One of our
that I think I like.
teachers used to narrate it. Like, they'd do a shadow cast performance, and he'd sit and he'd narrate it.
Oh.
It's the funniest thing.
Okay.
He's old. John Shelby.
No idea who that is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't watch TV. Not that kind of TV. So also, like, the narrator who in this movie, since you reminded me of that, who kind of comes in off and on and like says what's going on, like a narrator. He's also I just knew him because he's a villain in one of the James Bond movies, but I couldn't remember which one. That's all I kept thinking of. What came to my mind? I just can't remember what movie he's a villain in, but I know he's a villain in a James Bond movie.
And this is an example. I was thinking about it again from a perspective of a musical. I can see him working beautifully in a musical. I don't love him in this because, again, you have this pacing, you have this rhythm. He shows up. It's like a Monty Python sketch, like Holy Grail, where all of a sudden you're doing Knights of the Round Table, and then there's a guy clapping, hanging from a parapet, right? It's like this weird tonal break. And I get why they're doing that, because in a musical, I could see that being the point where the whole stage goes dark. There's a green light on him or a light on him, and the set is being changed by the crew, right? That makes sense to me from a theater perspective. But as a movie thing, like during Time Warp, when he's like standing on the desk going, shake your hips, it's funny, but it like for me, because I want to listen to Time Warp. I'm having a blast. I'm having fun with these people. So that's one of those things I don't think works. I think it would work better in the musical as opposed to the movie. You know, that's again me just thinking about it in that way.
I can agree that it would probably work better in a musical version on a stage, but I also think it works great here too.
Right. I love the jump to see that the narrator is actively being engaged in the story, because that's how it feels to me.
Like, this is a story that he is telling us, and we're just seeing the dramatic reenactment of his words.
That's a good way to put it.
Just interrupted my poor trying to get in there. I also have an opinion on that guy. Bill just did a hand gesture. Should I stop talking?
No, all I do is talk forever on this show. Please stop me from talking. Everybody at home listening is like, please shut that man up. Say your piece. It's fine.
Okay. Well, the thing that I like about him, he was very serious through the whole thing. And then when it comes to the Time Warp, you know, he got into it, and it really directly related to the infectiousness of the castle and the entire culture. And it was just kind of like all of a sudden this very serious guy was just as into it as everyone else was. And so you're kind of like, oh, this is getting to everybody.
See that? I can see it. It also gives
not to get too psychological into Rocky Horror Picture Show, but
no,
you know.
But it also, I think now that you're talking about it like that, Jaime, I think it gives also squares like me, us virgins to this thing, an opportunity to say, hey, it's okay to have fun with this. You know, if you're not already. It's one of the first big numbers of the, you know, obviously there's a couple of songs before this, but it's like the first big number of the musical. So yeah, I get that. I see that.
I also gotta say this movie made me laugh a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Like
very
this
fun.
was
Way or you were laughing at it?
I was a good way. Like I was enjoying myself more than some other movies I watched on this podcast that involve aliens and people getting eaten. But I was laughing. I was having fun.
He's not gonna let that.
No, I'm not. Like this movie was just, even though I'm like, I don't have any idea what's really going on, I'm laughing my ass off. This is hilarious at times. Like I'm enjoying it. And that was nice. Because I wasn't sure what I was going to think about this movie. Still don't know what I think about this movie. I was just confused.
You should watch it more.
I think Janet and Brad are also confused in several.
Oh God, I love those scenes.
Oh,
Those
I
are
think they're
so
a lot
fucking
more
good.
open than they were. Which is,
I think those are some of my favorite scenes when they do get to the mansion. We'll just go however we go with this. And especially when Tim Curry shows up to Janet first, and I guess he's disguised as Brad then pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I was a little confused, then it started, but just the way where she's like, "Don't tell Brad," just goes along. I'm like, "Oh, they're gonna have a rape scene." I'm like, "Oh, never mind, this changed."
Yep, that's just the power sexual magnetism of Tim Curry. I mean, Frankenfurter.
Yes.
And, you know, same thing happens with Brad. He goes in there pretending to be Janet.
Like down to the same lines, though. Like I love the parallels in those two scenes. Everything's the same, just reversed.
And I can
So
see this being it's extremely salacious in 1975 or 6 or whenever this came out.
Mm.
I can see I especially with the, you know, we've seen, I think sex scenes have happened in movies before then, but the kind of reactions that Brad has when Tim Curry's kissing him down, whew, I could see a lot of
Don't tell Janet.
feathers ruffle. Don't tell Janet. And there's one moment a little earlier where I think about during Time Warp when Janet is actually starting to get into it. And I comment to Jaime, I'm like, "Oh, gee, look at her. She's actually kind of getting into this." And Jaime goes, "Just you wait."
Yeah, that's fair.
That's very, very accurate. And I love how they show what kind of happened without showing it. Like after Brad sleeps with him, like you're unsure. Like I was unsure, maybe he left because they got called, but then you see a scene of Brad just sitting there smoking. And I'm like, oh, that's perfect. That's a way to show exactly what happened without showing it. Like that was just perfect.
The pre-1985 way of denoting sex is absolutely having a cigarette in bed.
Uh-huh.
And I adored when he came out in the little teal blue flowered kimono. Afterwards, it's like, oh. But I actually really appreciated, not to get all, social commentary on it. I feel like I did that already with
That's fine.
the guy.
That's what we do here.
I really appreciated that. I didn't when I was a teenager because I was just like horny teenager, and that's kind of why you went to Rocky, is to make out and hook up. But I really appreciate it now, where it's just kind of like, if you go back to the bridal scene, the car says she got hers, now he'll get his. And then you get to this Janet scene and it's like, oh, she actually wants to have sex too. And that's okay. She's free to do that.
It's very empowering.
Yeah. Because it's not like, around that time when it's like girls were supposed to be like prim and proper and I'm saving myself for marriage. And it's like, no, instead you're just, well, maybe not have, sex with a, lab created monster, but that's fine.
Hey,
There's nothing wrong with a little monster sex.
He was blonde and tan. It's fine.
She doesn't like muscles, remember? She doesn't like.
Yeah, that's a muscle. I love that. I love how she says that.
And she just looks at Brad and he's like, excuse you?
I really like that.
I don't like muscles either, baby.
No, I'm aware. So I'm well aware of that fact. But I just really, there were just things like that made me laugh my ass off with this. And I really like the fact that, like, I was thinking about, like, 70s movie and just showing stuff like that. It's like, that's a big thing for the time. And now that you mentioned this is the first movie that for like the queer culture, that's really cool. I didn't think about that.
and like, I don't want to say that, this is the first best queer movie, but this might be one of the first on-screen depictions of bisexuality that was ever in any kind of mainstream film.
Yeah.
Probably.
This was put out by 20th Century Fox. So technically, Tim Curry, Frankenfurter, is now a Disney princess.
Yes, please.
Oh, I have so many pictures of
I
my
need an
head.
animation of that now.
I've seen a meme going around. Okay, hear me out. Rocky Horror Muppet Show. And I'm like, okay, yeah.
Animal has got is Animal Rocky or is Animal Tim Curry?
Oh, no.
No. The blonde in the band I pictured as Tim Curry.
Oh.
I can't remember her name, though.
Janice?
Sure. Yes.
I don't know. I don't know
I think
about
it is
the one with
Janice,
the-
actually. Yeah.
Zoe
I actually
Deschanel
think it
things?
is Janice. Yeah,
Yes.
I pictured her
Yeah, it
as the
sounds
Tim Curry character for some reason. I was like, let's see.
Oh, no. Sam the Eagle's got to be Frankenfurter.
Oh, yes. Yes. Sam. That's great.
Amazing.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's good casting. Yeah.
Dr. Teeth has got to be Eddie.
Sure.
Yes.
Gonzo's got to be Riff Raff.
I was going to say Gonzo's in there somewhere.
Yeah. Gonzo's got to be Riff Raff because that ending number. Oh, baby. I want to hear that Gonzo so bad. But because this movie was like such a thing, like when I saw it when I was young, it really helped me understand that, hey, bisexuality is a thing. And as a bisexual man, I can absolutely credit a lot of both my understanding and broader acceptance to this movie.
Yeah, because like I grew up in. It's not a small town anymore, but it was a lot smaller when I grew up. I grew up in Des Moines, Iowa, and there was a good, bad, or indifferent. I got away with a lot of stuff, and experienced a whole lot of drugs, and it was fine.
Midwest living.
Yeah. So when I grew up, Rocky Horror Picture Show was a culture. It was an entire subset of escapism for young adults and teenagers to go there. Like, I remember going to Rocky Horror Picture Show and then going to Perkins afterwards and having coffee at 2 a.m. with full, like, transvestites and having coffee thrown at us from across the room. People attacking people. I was with a woman who was she was transgender. She was sobbing because her friend had just been murdered. And this culture was a refuge and a safe place for so many people. And so many people went there and experienced it when they were just kind of like, the mainstream, like, jock went there and they kind of, they really kind of were like, oh my God, I kind of like this a little bit, but they didn't want to. But it shut them up enough to understand it. So when they went to school, they were quiet the next day. And so it was like it was this thing. It was this living, breathing experience for hundreds and hundreds of people growing up and just, some people just wanted to go out and have a good time and, get wasted and, mess around. And other people, it was this absolute amazing freedom that was the one place they could go there, and they could be straight laced everywhere else, but they could go there, put on a corset, and it was fine.
That's exactly what I heard from a number of the people who attended the production that I helped put on. We not only had curious students who had never seen this movie before, because why would they watch this crazy thing from the 70s? But we had community members coming in who had been to these shadow castings in the 70s and in the 80s and found refuge and community. And they shared how much that meant to them at the time, and then how much it meant to them to see it coming back.
And I'm hearing these stories, it really helps me appreciate, again, that importance. And that's why I go back to my first statement, which was, I get it. I totally get it. And it also really helps that this is actually a lot of fun. Straight, not straight, whatever, wherever you happen to be on that line. This is a lot of fun. Time Warp is a absolute banger. The Meatloaf song is so freaking good. Like this classic 50s rock and roll, high-spirited, just, it's a blast. So I like the fact that it has bridged that gap, and I really think it's very cool, James, that it's served as a haven for people, because again, that's why when I talk about it, it's like, I get why this is important, which goes beyond my persnickety little film critic snobbery. So, and some movies are just like that. Some movies just transcend that kind of analysis.
Yeah. It's critic proof.
Hey, sometimes you don't like really good movies, Bill. Remember Scott Pilgrim? You didn't like that movie as much as you should have.
Wait a second. It's fine. It's fine.
Look, we don't want to get in this fight now because I got shit on both of you.
Yes.
So I have another thing I want to bring up. Like when you first see Rocky, when he's created, like all that scene that's also another like really cool scene. Like I was thinking about it as I was watching it. Like, it's all the colors of the rainbow too are on the container that he's supposed to be in.
Mm-hmm.
So that was also a cool, like, and Tiffany, you brought up a thing about him, like how he couldn't talk. He's like, he can't talk except when he's singing.
Yeah, because I remembered it as a non-speaking role, and then suddenly he's singing. I was like, well, he technically doesn't talk, I guess. So it's only a singing role? I don't know.
I feel like there's probably some more meaning to that.
Did you notice that he didn't have a belly button?
No.
He did.
He did,
but
it was weird. That was the one thing I commented on last night.
Somebody was like, Janet was like touching him, and
you would be too.
Attention. I would too. I don't like muscles, but I touch them if I have the opportunity.
I said the same thing last night when there was also the scene where he was lifting the weights when Frankenfurter gave him the weights, and then he was like rubbing his finger down his chest into his lower abdomen. Yes. I was like, what's wrong with his belly button? It was like, it's weird.
Because it was like not in the right spot.
Oh, I didn't notice.
It was covered with a patch.
Yeah, it was like it wasn't
not born. He was made, so he wouldn't have one.
Okay.
Wait. Oh wow. Okay.
Yep.
Huh. Interesting.
I just figured he'd worked out to the point where there was like nothing left.
Yeah, like
deeply.
His muscle mass kind of took over. It was like, I need this little bit of fat from the belly button. I'm just gonna embed this into the pectoral. Yeah.
Checks out.
I was gonna say, like, damn, that guy was in shape though in this movie. I kept thinking he looked like Dolph Lundgren. I did not realize
the rainbow until last night. It was the first time I saw it. I was like, wait a minute, he's creating a person with like colors of the rainbow. I was like, oh crap, there's a rainbow. Okay. Yeah. Oh, I missed that.
And was the rainbow like a symbol of that culture, of the culture in those days? I don't really know.
I don't know.
Genuine question. Like,
Google.
Sure.
I'm just curious. I mean, because again, I'm just curious if Rocky Horror helped bring that into the community, or if that was already established in the community. I just don't know.
Now, what I will say for sure is on Frankenfurter's green lab coat, you will absolutely see a pink triangle pointed upwards, which at the time was very much a gay pride icon.
Okay.
Because in the concentration camps, gay prisoners were identified with a pink triangle pointing down. So by having it pointed up, it was being reclaimed by the gay community at the time. So that's why that triangle is on his coat.
I'm surprised I didn't know this. I know so much World War II stuff. I didn't know this.
Really?
Awesome.
Yeah, I never heard of this before.
Huh.
Oh,
I
hey, tell
also
me
just
something about World War
Googled
II.
it, and the rainbow flag popularized as a symbol of the gay community by San Francisco artist Gilbert Baker in 1978.
Wow. Interesting. So around that time, huh? Huh. I wonder if
cool.
Rocky Horror has something to do with that. That's interesting.
It could. I mean, also, I was surprised this movie actually grossed a lot of money. Like, I thought this would be
He
a
was
bomb.
like, oh, it flopped. I was like, no, it did not.
Upon release, it did.
Yeah, it was like shown in 8 theaters, and they all had to shut it down early because no one showed up. I think I read somewhere that it is officially the longest theatrical release in movie history because it's still technically in a theatrical release. Like
There
it's still,
is
yeah.
a theater in Munich that has been playing it once a week, every week since it came out, still to this day.
It's a continuous release. I think the Waverly was the one in New York that was famous for having this. I wonder if they still do it. I wonder if the Waverly still exists. I will run to the internet.
I know the Oriental.
I talked to a bunch of
Milwaukee
people
does it.
that went to the Waverly in the 80s because when I moved to New York, there was a bunch of people who were talking about Rocky Horror Picture Show, and they're like, "Oh, I used to go to the theater and see that." And I knew which theater they were talking about that they went to, and I was like, "Oh," because the theater I went to was amazing. It was a dinner theater, so it was 5 levels. They were all flat, and there was a bunch of round tables, and you would go there and sit there and you'd order your food and they'd bring it out. So it was the perfect ability to dance. And we had people up and down the aisles dancing. The shadow cast was in the front. Once we start talking about shadow casting, I was for a while I was Eddie in the shadow cast until someone bit me, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm out."
That sounds about right.
Why did someone bite you?
Why'd they bite you?
In the dinner scene, one of the guys was like, "Oh, a girl laid out on a table and bit me," and I was like, "Yeah, no, thank you."
Yeah, teeth are a bit of a line here. I think that's what we're learning. The Waverly is now the IFC Center in New York. It's no longer called the Waverly. I've been to the IFC Center multiple times when I lived in New York. Saw many a foreign film there, and it's a really nice theater, but it's no longer the Waverly, and they don't do the picture show anymore, as far as I can tell. Who knows? Maybe during Halloween they trot it out. I'm sure they do, but not a regular showing anymore. It's on 6th in the Village.
Oh, I used to work around the corner from that. That's the theater?
Right there.
Oh,
Theater of the Mind, everyone. We're looking at a little thumbnail on Wikipedia of the IFC Center, just so everyone in the listening audience knows.
I looked at it, I was
God
like, that looks like that
podcasting
theater I
is
used to
such a
walk to
visual
get to the
medium.
subway after work at 3 a.m. every night. It
Terrifying.
smelled so bad. Well, not
Yeah, just the
inside,
idea of walking
outside.
around New York at 3 a.m. does sound terrifying. I 100% agree.
I want to go
That's
to
not
there.
what she said. But okay.
Oh, I thought that's what you said. Oh, never mind. I don't like the idea of walking around New York at 3 a.m. I like the idea of walking around Chicago when I was like 12 o'clock at night once. Scared me too.
If anyone comes up to you and they're weird, just bite yourself on the arm and start screaming. They'll leave you alone.
You just have to act crazy. They'll not leave you alone.
I tell them, hey, you want to listen to my podcast? They might walk away too then. I thought, well, get printing out business cards. Hey, that might work. Hey, do you want to? I actually really thought about printing out business cards to hand to people randomly, but I don't want to.
Or ask them if they want to sign a petition to save something, and they'll be like, "No."
One thing you'll realize in New York, everyone's just avoiding each other. You'll be fine, Mike Albertin. You would not have a problem walking around at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's fine.
All I got to do is carry a clipboard, and if they approach me, ask them to sign up the petition, and we're good.
Do you care about children? Do you care? Here, sign this. Oh, clearly you don't care about children. Well, great. I hate this so much. I care about children, not yours, mine.
Another scene that
Specifically using that one because I was walking down the street 9 months pregnant when someone was like, "Do you care about children?" I went, "Nope, hate them all." They're like, I do not know what to do with.
That is beautiful.
Another scene that I want to talk about is the part when Janet sleeps with Rocky. I really like this scene too. Because,
Everyone shows up.
it's so good. Because it's I was kind of taking a look at a couple different ways. One, the stereotype, typical things kind of going for where, not supposed to have sex to get married, at least not for women, apparently.
That boat already sailed for Jesus.
Yeah, I know, but it was just the whole idea where she's introduced to it and she's in control, and I like that. And I'm just happy it wasn't a rape scene, because I was just really thought that's where this movie was going a couple times, and I was happy it didn't. Well, other movies in the 70s like to throw that in there for no reason, I feel like.
Yeah. But
No, but
The Janet one was very important because she is taking control of her sexuality for the first time in her life.
Yeah.
Like, Frank just kind of came into her room and she was like, yeah, okay, maybe. But this is her actually becoming a participant in her own life where sexuality resides. And that's a big thing in 1975. Like, you didn't see that as much.
No, and you see, multiple times you see them, both Susan Sarandon and Barry Bostwick, half naked too, essentially. And
Barry Bostwick put on the robe, and Susan Sarandon just decided
have the rip skirt,
have the rip skirt, and walk around in her chonies.
But it was cool. It was. I think I think it kind of lends more to that female empowerment too.
It also showed that quote unquote good girl having a bad side, because in 1975 you're coming off of Woodstock and hippies, and everyone's just like, oh, free love was a bunch of damn those dirty hippies. And then it's like, no, this is the good girl, and like, oh, she actually wants it too. Oh my god.
The wild and crazy idea that sex can be, for fun.
Yeah, that's crazy to some people. Yes, that too. And the church.
The church, okay.
Especially when I think like the Puritan stuff. I like following stuff like that too, because I think it's interesting the way that they control people through sex. And that's what they did. So that's another topic.
Okay, moving on from
Do
that
Puritans
topic.
still exist? Okay, another topic.
Probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
Erase that from this
In
conversation.
No, none of this getting erased. That's not how I edit. I'm not
Oh,
real. I don't go through and
okay,
cut out
John.
conversations and put them in different episodes. No, I just let the whole thing go.
Oh, Jamie, sweet child. You don't understand. Mike doesn't edit any of this. How many times I've said to him, Mike, you can actually clear this out? Nope.
Hey, I only cut out and I cut out, hopefully we'll cut out that one, and pauses. That's it. Everything else just sticks in there.
Nope, that is going to be in there.
No, these will not. Stop it. So I'm trying to think of some other things that I want to mention. Like the Butler, this is kind of a weird take, but the Butler is really making me think of Scary Movie. And I'm assuming that Scary Movie 2, I think. I felt like this was a reference to that movie. Okay, I didn't know that. Never to this day that I realized Scary Movie 2 is referencing Rocky Horror Picture with that weird Butler.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, even the hair is the same in Scary Movie, too.
Yeah.
Never
Cool.
seen
I learned
Scary
something new.
Movie too. It was
The other
really
thing I thought was-
interesting when he answered the door. When the butler answered the door, it was so there was a lot of scenes that I remembered and a lot of things that I forgot. It was very interesting. I was like, I've seen this thing hundreds of times, but certain little eggs and things that I didn't really see before was when the butler answered the door and his white. Oh gosh, what is that? It's not a cummerbund. I guess it was a vest. Was covered in blood.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw it last night. I was like, oh, he's all bloody.
Oh, I didn't get
Neat. And actually, there's a also we didn't mention that the castle this is filmed at was used for a lot of Hammer horror movies back in the olden days. So a lot of classic movies of that era were filmed. Horror movies were filmed there, which gives it that vibe. And again, that opening with the scared couple. Well, one scared person, one completely idiotic. Oh, hey, this looks perfectly fine. Walking up, getting such a good horror vibes. Like, it really did have really cool horror vibes to it. It felt very much like an old Hammer movie. The couple walking up to the creepy house and the creepy guy answers. It's very, very effective and cool.
I think I was expecting more like horror to be kind of what was coming. Even though I knew it was a musical, I was expecting there to still be more like gruesome stuff.
They eat a guy. That's not gruesome enough for you.
I mean, his name is Meatloaf, so hey,
I mean, full on murder and eat him. Like, come on.
Yeah, that's not enough.
At least they didn't turn him into goo, okay?
Oh my God, stop.
Are we forever going to?
Oh,
Is
yeah.
this the new BioShock Infinite? Is this the new Hulk reference that will never end?
Oh,
Mike
no,
Albertin?
yeah. It's one of the many jokes in this podcast.
The Hulk reference? Is that what he said?
Yeah. How Edward Norton gets
You're
from
welcome for
South
that,
America
since I pointed that out
to New York in nothing without any money. I'm still upset about that. But who knows?
I'm waiting for Mike to. So, Bill, how do you correlate Rocky Horror Picture Show with BioShock Infinite? Like, tell me that story, please.
I already did that recently.
Wait for
I
that.
was listening to something that I made that I had it. It had that reference in it.
I'm just
No one
glad there
had
aren't
pinkies
any,
up
like,
in this. There should have been
guns in
pinkies.
this.
No, I was paying attention for that. He only had one gun, Ken, in the end of this movie.
Yeah, I know,
What
there was
about the
only
laser
one
gun?
gun.
Like, come on, there's totally a gun.
Yeah, but there's only one.
All right, but it's there.
Does she know the infamous joke?
No, she does not, and we're not going to say it. Move along.
I don't know this joke either.
You can listen to
Yeah,
episode Arkham City. I forget what number it is.
No. Sorry.
If they said it, you would know, and they're not going to say it.
No, I always pay attention for there being 2 of something, and there wasn't really that in this movie, so I can't do it.
Mhm.
Oh, but I want to talk about Eddie. We haven't talked about Meatloaf yet.
Oh, he's so good.
That was
So
good.
Love him.
He did a great job in this.
Because I saw him in the opening credits, I'm like, what is? I forgot his role. I forgot what he played, but immediately I was like, oh, Meatloaf.
He's
Yeah.
so young looking in this. He looks like a baby.
They're all so young.
He only has maybe 1.5 scenes. Are we gonna count the dinner as a scene for me?
I mean, he's there. He's just missing part of his body.
but he nails it. He does really well.
Like, I was confused how he just busts out of, like, the free storage on his motorcycle. Like, was he supposed to be frozen? I didn't understand, but probably doesn't matter.
Yeah, he was put in deep freeze. They reference it in now I'm forgetting her name. His ex-girlfriend.
Oh, Columbia.
Columbia's song later
Yeah.
on. Put him in the deep freeze because Frank was jealous of their relationship.
Oh, okay, so that's what was going on in that part.
Yeah.
In Colombia, that's the redhead chick, right?
Yes.
The tap dancer.
Okay.
They
I guess
both
they're-
have red hair. Both Columbia and Magenta.
With the short hair.
The short, straight hair.
Yeah, the pixie cut.
Okay.
Isn't that
He
how?
Yes, I
split,
did.
he splits Meatloaf's brain or Eddie's brain between Eddie. Like he cut part of Eddie's brain out and gave it to Rocky.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
That's
No.
why Eddie has the scar on his forehead.
Oh, I think I was looking down at one point and typing notes and not paying attention.
They reference that later though.
Okay. I really like the part when Eddie comes out and then that's when I was also confused because after his whole song and everything, he just murders him inside the freezer. I'm like, wait a second, this took a gruesome turn.
Well, there was the horror you were looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. And boy, is he terrifying, Tim Curry going at you with a, I think it was like a pickaxe, right? Or
Yep.
something. I think it was
In
a
drag.
pickaxe.
A hatchet.
Woo.
Was it? I thought it was
Yeah.
a pickaxe.
It's so interesting to look at him and his character and how much
There's no
he
pick 'em.
goes to sexually awaken other people and has no problem having sex with multiple partners. But the minute Rocky reacted to Eddie or had sex with Janice, he lost it in a fit of jealousy.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Brings up a good point.
Well, it's good for
No,
the goose
I'm-
is not good for the gander. Or
Yeah.
vice versa.
No, I didn't catch that. That's cool. That's another cool concept in this. I don't know. I just really like seeing Meatloaf. I feel like he's been in other movies too, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Fight Club.
Fight
Oh,
Club.
yep.
Yep.
Okay, that's what was in my head. Okay.
His name was Richard Paulson, is that right?
Yep.
All
Bob
right.
Paulson.
He was Space Monkey. Wasn't it Space Monkey? I don't know. He got slapped a lot.
He was also in Tenacious D, Pick of Destiny.
Never seen that either.
Wow, that was a gasp. Good Lord.
You'll have to fix that.
No, leave it.
No, leave it.
Put some echo behind it, like make it really loud in the mix, like.
I'm not cutting that out. I mean, might have to see the movie someday. But
That is a core memory unlocked, apparently.
Oh yeah.
I know he's Jack Black's dad in that movie.
oh, okay, I'll have to watch it. I like Jack Black.
It's a great movie.
It really is.
If you guys ever Patreon Fight Club, I'll have to join you.
Okay,
I
It'd be nice to see it, not on acid.
that'd be interesting though.
Oh my
No,
god.
don't.
That sounds like the worst idea.
It was the worst. I questioned existence at the end of that.
That's fair.
Oh, that's how I felt after I saw Dark City for the first time.
What the hell is this Dark
That
City
was the
movie
last
keep
time
bringing
I did drugs. I was like, and I'm clean. Welcome to sobriety.
Welcome to surprise. Congratulations.
up? Great. A couple of things I think that the Eddie, like I knew when they showed the table, I'm like, yep, Eddie. When they bring out the random meat and they start cutting people the meat, and I'm like, yep, that's Eddie.
I didn't get that right off the bat. I really didn't.
You didn't see it when he said that it was-
something.
No, I knew it was a person though.
No, when Frankenfurt said something very specific about the tenderness of the meat, everybody got it. And like you saw Brad and Janet put
Just
like
drop it.
and like in Colombia, they put the meat down and she got really upset. And it was like they all realized they were eating Eddie. I don't remember what he said.
Well, I guess I had to be at the
I gotta
dinner
look it
table.
up.
I don't know. I for some reason that didn't hit me right away.
Because aren't they all aliens besides Brad and Janet?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Dr. Scott. Don't forget about Dr. Scott.
Oh, Dr.
Yeah, we haven't talked
Scott.
about him yet.
Oh,
Columbia wasn't.
Scott and his sexy legs.
Yeah, Columbia wasn't.
Yeah, Columbia's a groupie.
Yeah.
You're right.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's why Columbia's turned to stone then too near the end.
That would
That's
make
what I
sense.
didn't know. I thought,
Was her extreme reaction to Eddie in her song. She was talking about how she very nearly loved him, but at the end she yelled at Frankenfurt that I loved you. So she was in love with Tim Curry, but very nearly loved Eddie. So it was, I don't know,
That's why I cooked them.
random factual statement.
I don't know. I just got that feeling that that's where the movie was going, just based on the way everybody was the way the meat looked weird, and I just like, yep, that's where they're going. I don't know. I guess I watched a few too many horror movies. Not many, but I guess I watched cannibalism movies. Book of Eli, not a horror movie, but they have cannibalism in that movie too. Really good
I
film.
wish y'all could see the look I'm giving my
All the women can guess that are listening to this, I'm sure.
Can we?
They all done it to their.
He's spouting lies about watching horror movies.
I watched some.
What? When I force you?
Yeah, okay, that counts, right?
You know, meatloaf was kind of heavy. I bet he was really nicely marbled, and I bet that meat was very juicy.
Probably.
Wagyu.
It's
Oh, yeah.
it's all in the
American
preparation. Yeah.
Right, and he was put on ice right at the time of death. There wouldn't have been any problems with the meat getting hard.
Oh, yeah, it would have been perfect. Oh, my
Right.
God.
I don't think they'd have enough time to brine him, but I mean, we all know that's how the best way to
Give it that freshly killed. I don't think they need to brine him.
Plus the fact that he was in a freezer that was actively blowing air. I mean, he was essentially dry aged.
Dried aged meatloaf.
Like,
Boy,
that's
oh,
pork
boy.
tender, like right off the bone. Good stuff.
Nice.
I mean, there was a pickaxe involved. He was meat tenderized.
Oh, yeah.
That's fair.
Yep.
He was beating the shit out of him, so yeah.
I mean, they
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the cannibal recipes my mom found.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Wait till I
Going
cover
through the
Silence of the Lamb
cookbook.
someday.
Oh Lord, have mercy.
Great grandmama Albertin. Here's her old scroll of ways to prepare human beings.
Oh, side thing on cannibalism, I want to say one last thing. I was playing Red Dead Redemption recently, and there was a mission where there was some guy that they were going to cannibalize, and I was like, oh, you can either shoot the guy or let him eat the guy. So I just shot him, yes, of course. But it just made me laugh. I was like, oh, okay.
And let him have a nosh. But I love to talk a bit about. Not that I don't love cannibalism, chat. I mean, it's my favorite podcast. I would love to talk about the music because, as I said, this is the heartbeat of the movie, for me at least. This is kind of the unifying thing that allows people who are, again, in my opinion, who are straight, queer, or however, all sorts and all types. I think everyone can agree that the soundtrack is basically wall-to-wall bangers. I don't think I'm saying anything controversial with that one. What's everybody's favorite song other than Time Warp, which again is like upper stratosphere good?
Oh, shit.
I want the first one that Tim Curry sings, like when they first get there.
The welcome song.
Yeah, the welcome song.
I'm just a sweet transvestite.
Yeah,
that one.
That one. Absolutely loved it. He was brilliant in it too.
And what an introduction to Frankenfurt. It's great. I think I'm looking at the track listing and I don't want to actually listen to it because I'm trying to pay attention. It's the one that Meatloaf sings when his introduction, when Eddie, I think it's Hot Patootie, is that right?
They're all good.
Yes, that's Hot Patootie.
Hot Patootie, that is a rock and roll bang. That is so good. That's probably my favorite of the season. Yeah, I think that's probably my favorite.
I really like Damn It, Janet. I don't know why. I'm not a music guy.
Just like saying "damn it, Janet."
I like the fact that it rhymed, yes. It amused me. And just the word like, damn it, Janet. I don't know. It amused me a lot. I got it.
And she's doing all the lines, like she's doing all the extra stuff as you would in a shadow cast. It was great. It was a very fun.
My favorite was. Oh, I'm not near the mic. I just got correct.
Now you know how I feel, Bill.
No. Excuse me, somebody can relate to me now. Thank you very much. We're going to be like, well, Brett.
So my favorite was because it is the funnest to do. And I keep on having to look down and at the word shadow cast because just to call myself out, I had literally have a note here for Bill that says shadow cast equals the people that acted out at the front because I was like, what is shadow casting? I'm old. And I don't understand life. And so, but the funnest thing to act out was the touch. That's literally what it's called. Touch me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, God.
And because not
seen
only
some things,
is it just fun to sing out, but I mean, as a teenager, my God, so many people fill you up in one play. It's, what else could you ask for?
Great.
No, I wish I would have seen this in a Shadowcast now. I'm kind of
There's
bummed that we
always
missed
time
it
to
at
change it.
the show we go to.
That would have been the best thing for you to see it for the first time as Shadowcast.
I agree.
It would have been amazing.
I am torn here between the sweet transvestite and I'm going home. So the in and the out. Like there's something, and I think this is the queer kid in me. There's something that just speaks to me. Don't dream it, be it. And I love that.
Oh, like it just, again, this movie, you guys made this movie make a lot more sense to me. And like the fact that that's, for the 70s, it was trying, it was that first movie to kind of, tell the culture. And like, even to this day with all the bullshit we have happening, like I can see how this movie is still very relevant in today's world.
Exactly.
I like also probably banned in Florida at the rate Florida's going, but hey.
Right.
I always get political in the show, not like I always make my political jabs.
No comeback for that, so.
All right. I've been thinking about this the entire time you guys have been talking, and at the end of the day, I think I gotta go. I Can Make You a Man, because it's just filthy, and I love it. But I also really like singing that song in karaoke, and some of the looks you get are equal parts disgusted, and I wonder what his deal is.
Because if someone never seen this before, I wouldn't catch it. Like, there are certain songs, if you were singing like a David Bowie song from Labyrinth, I would know what you're doing.
Yeah, I
would
don't
catch
think
it.
we can really ignore the influence that David Bowie had to have played on this.
I told Mike, I said I could see David Bowie in the Frankfurter role.
100%.
It'd have to be Ziggy Stardust, David Bowie, though. Everything else was too restrained.
Yes, I agree.
It's a good song, too. It's some of the stuff I actually listen to. Ken, what the hell was I about to call you Keith? I don't understand what's wrong with me today.
That's the second time.
I know, I don't understand.
I know he was going to say.
I don't understand.
It's nice to meet you.
I would say it's because I've been drinking, but I haven't drank anything.
No, you have. What's wrong with you?
I got nothing.
I got nothing. It's Saturday. Let's go drinking.
Unbelievable.
Wait, it's Saturday, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But, I lost my train of thought. Someone take over, please.
No. Still talking about songs.
I think we covered all that with everybody.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Okay.
But one thing I'm talking about, like the Medusa thing, where like we should talk about before the Medusa. We should talk about the Doctor. We haven't talked about the Doctor yet. That comes in midway or near the end of the movie.
With the sexy legs.
Yes, but the whole the part of it I thought was hilarious is how this guy's just in a wheelchair rolling through the woods heading to this castle, and that just made me laugh.
And then he's like way back there, and then suddenly he's in the castle, and you're like, oh, okay then.
You roll fast,
And
those
then
wheels,
later on, he magically has the ability to, lift his leg up and kiss his own knee.
Yeah.
That's the power of stockings, though.
That is the power of fishnets. I mean, that really,
I'm not sure I can even do that. So.
I cannot.
Have you tried wearing fishnets?
I really like how all of a sudden he just has sexy legs. That was hilarious.
And those
That was
legs
really
were
cool.
sexy as fuck, too.
Yeah, they were.
Fishnet
Did
makes
not fit the guy
everyone
at
hot.
all. I'm like, what the hell's going on here?
well, call this like not a premonition, I guess, but weird coincidence. Jamie and we went to like this German beer festival, culture fest thing, like way out of town, like an hour and a change out of Austin. And on the way back, there was a highway or a street called Dr. Scott Drive.
Great
and
Scott.
Jane went, oh, right? Dr. Scott. It was like, this is just creepy. And if we didn't have kids in the car and they weren't hungry and cranky, we might have just taken that right turn just to see if Dr. Scott Drive takes us to some weird castle somewhere. I don't know.
I mean, it is Texas.
You
Sure
would have had
is.
to
You'll
stop
run
for
into a
toilet
castle.
paper first, though.
And you guys are talking about doing things on a Saturday night. If you live in the Austin, Texas area, the O'Brien's Orchestra still does regular shadowcast of Rocky Horror Picture Show. Their next one is on June 10th, the Saturday night, at the Southwest Theater's Lake Creek 7. James, that's like 10 minutes down the road. 10 minutes right by Pinballs. South Crest, I know exactly where that is.
There we
Really?
go.
Yep. Grab that corset. I know it's somewhere in the garage. And let's go. There's
Hey,
Hey,
still
I have
some-
Texas listeners. Like, I do know that. And this will come out before that date. So, hey, you could.
There you go. I was going to ask when this is coming out. So June 10th for all of you Austinites
It's
out there.
10:30 p.m. That's early.
It is early. Oh, yeah, it's not a midnight showing though. They probably shut that place down around midnight. It's in a strip mall.
Well, I mean, it is Texas. The average road speed is 85 miles an hour. You don't really need people out.
Hey, it sounds like Wisconsin.
Oh, man, we just missed a shadowcast around us last night.
Man, see this. You could have prepared for this show in
Like,
with
only
an experience.
Damn it.
Man.
It was literally
Damn it,
last
Janet.
night.
That's funny.
Oh, son of a B-word.
Oh, and the other thing, like the whole thing with the doctor, I just thought was like the magnet thing cracked me up, and they just had like this big magnet just pulls them
So
up
good.
all these stairs randomly. I'm
He's
like,
just shoot.
and he just goes by other people that are sitting there. Like there's the two girls that are just sitting there. Like I'm like, this is just funny.
I really do like that. It was so cartoon Bugs Bunny style
Yeah.
chicanery. It was very, very good.
And the reason he crashed through the wall is because the set designers literally forgot to build the door. I'm not even kidding.
That's amazing. I didn't know that.
Like, that's the reason that he broke through the wall. He was supposed to go through a door, but they didn't build it.
I just
So it just
assumed they had
broke
no
the wall
money.
down?
So they're like,
I-
oh well.
I just assumed they had to reuse the hole because they had no money. This was made on $1.6 million. And honestly, I don't know where any of that money went because this looks like
It
it's
went
made.
to renting the castle.
Had to have been, I guess,
Yeah.
because it's not on screen. That
No.
from the operating theater style room where half of this movie takes place, that's barely set dressed. It kind of feels like a Clockwork Orange. There's not a lot of it in the film.
They wasted
But,
it on the ending where the castle goes. Whoo!
Maybe that beautiful effect, which is actually really fun and good. James
Beautiful
Franco
orgies are
likes to
expensive, too.
I guess. I mean, maybe there's insurance involved. I don't know how these
I mean,
things
you gotta
work.
pay the
I'm not a
actors,
producer.
too. But they were all pretty much unknown, weren't they?
I feel like they were, but I'm the wrong
Yeah, I
person
mean-
to ask that.
Well,
Yeah.
Susan Sarandon had roles before this. So did Barry Bostwick. Meatloaf was up and coming. Like, he wasn't Meatloaf. Let's see. Charles Gray, the guy who played the criminologist, he did play Blofeld in Diamonds Are Forever. I did look
Okay, that's the movie. I knew that's one of the worst Bond movies, by the way.
Moonraker would like a word.
Okay, one of the worst Sean Connery movies. How about that?
Well, that's fair. Let's see.
Yeah, no, you're right. Moonraker. I like Moonraker a lot, but that movie's trash. Hot trash.
Like, most of the actors, though, had a following in theater, mostly.
Yeah, they're all theater people. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Also, Diamonds Forever also has a gay characters in that movie too. It's not good, but it just to kind of fit like the theme. It did have other so more, but I guess they were villains and they get killed by Scorpion. So
And that's actually another reason why Rocky Horror is so culturally important is a lot of the mainstream anything, if there was queer anything, it was villain coded. And then your villains were queer coded. And so to have this be, yeah, they were creepy aliens, sure, but none of them were villains per se.
I mean,
they're
Frankfurter just wanted to sleep with
Shitty.
people.
Right.
really-
And
He
like,
did kill Eddie. So
Oh.
anybody, he'd be the villain, but sort of.
he's still sort of, exactly.
Yeah, sort of.
I mean,
Like,
Eddie was a bad kid. Remember that?
Even if he is the villain, you still want to
He
sleep. with
didn't
him,
like
so-
his teddy. He knew he was a no good kid.
I knew.
I love how he pulls out the teddy bear too near the end. I'm like, oh, okay, this is fucking hilarious.
Well, I wouldn't like that damn Teddy either. Buy me something better.
Right.
Like Build-A-Bear.
Build a bear.
Build-A-Bear wasn't around in the 70s, I don't think so.
Oh, damn it.
I forgot about the Teddy line. I literally thought he was singing he didn't, or they were singing he didn't like his daddy. And I was like, well, a lot of people don't like their dads. Why does that make him a bad kid? And I was like, oh, teddy bear. Okay.
Yeah, and if you don't like your teddy bear, you're just, I don't know, monster.
You're just wrong.
Just get eaten. That's all. I guess.
You know what? I'm gonna go ahead. My opinions are my own, not the opinions of Genghis my mom fun. But if you don't like your stuffed bear, you deserve to be eaten.
I'd rather get eaten by Scarlett Johansson than get eaten by this guy. So
I'd rather get eaten by Frankenfurter. You know what I mean?
I'd rather get eaten by Frankenfurter.
Same.
I have a soft spot for Scarlett Johansson. Even if she's gonna lead me into a pile of goo, I'm going. I'd be one of the idiots to go into that pile of
You go
goo.
to that damn pile.
I would. Some of
You
the
just want to see you're naked.
it's fine. Some of the other things I want to talk about, like the Medusa, like everything leading up to like the Medusa thing, where they're led into the trap and all of a sudden they can't move. I don't know. I found that was
And they were all naked. They got turned to stone and then they're naked.
I like that. And you see the Komodo laying on the ground too.
It
I
was
thought that was amusing.
But
it turned them into ancient Greek sculptures, which is where the Medusa reference is from. So makes sense to me that they were suddenly naked.
I liked it. I liked the fact that they also had other statues in the background, which mean other people were turned to stone too.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it kind of makes Frankfurter a villain too, because he's turning people to stone.
They got better.
They reemerge. But they reemerge. Like I don't even think it was supposed to be like permanent. They reemerge as fully liberated selves, right? And
And I
so
love they're all dressed. He like dressed a stone, and then when they come back, they got the.
it's magic stone. It's magic transformative corset fishnet stone.
I mean,
How'd you get those fishnets on that stone?
Don't ask questions that have no good answers. Just accept it as it is.
I just had to. I always do that.
Oh, it's fine. Sorry, I didn't mean to tell you how to.
aliens.
That's true. And boy, oh boy, do I like that guy's laser gun, which is literally probably a pitchfork that they bought at the Halloween store.
Yeah, but it
Old.
works. Pitchfork
Because
once
he's the
again.
old guy from the picture, so it's okay he has a pitchfork. When we saw that scene in the beginning of the
Oh
movie,
no,
I'm like,
really?
where's his pitchfork? And then all of a sudden you had the pitchfork gun. And I'm like, I'm sold.
And you're okay with that?
Mhm.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Oh, I didn't catch that. Oh my gosh, that's so good.
Either.
I mean,
Another
if you-
How am I
layer.
the one that caught this?
Wait, what?
No, I caught that.
No.
But if you really want to blow your mind, this movie is all about how the value system of middle America was being violently oppressive towards the queer community, because Riff Raff is absolutely emblematic of the American Gothic set, that middle American 50s virtue culture. And he had to kill Frankenfurter because that was his mission, because he was in charge now. This is all about putting the gays in their place.
That's really cool. And that's probably why they go with the whole painting and everything. Okay, that is cool.
That makes more sense.
Because I was wondering why they had that in the beginning of the movie, where they're right to like that stupid painting. I'm like, okay, but that makes a lot of cool sense. I also don't like that painting, by the way.
Why?
I thought it's stupid. I've always never liked it.
We should get one.
I don't like art that much. That's like that kind of art. I like that art. I like my Mario posters that are signed by people.
It's art.
That's my kind of
real
art.
Yeah, but it's colorful art.
So
Also comic book art. I'm surrounded by comic book art too. So
I don't like art, he says.
I'm weird. What can I say? I also don't like a lot of music.
I wish you were on video when you said that.
Eh.
I don't like art.
There's no video on this. No, all that stuff with the D Medusa was really cool. Like the fact that all their faces are painted. I don't know. But I didn't think about it like as a liberation thing either. But that's cool. Like that's probably why they're all in the pool in the very end, kind of have like an orgy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what they were going for. I didn't think about it at the time. One of your earlier comments someone made. I'm like, okay,
Oh yeah,
makes sense.
like it's a good thing. You're breaking out of this stone cocoon and becoming your own person, who you were always meant to be. And then you get shot by a motherfucker with an upside down ponytail.
But you do get saved by a really musclier guy that tries to save you and carry you off and die too.
Yeah, very much climbing up the RKO radio tower, mirroring King Kong and Fay Ray.
Yeah, I did catch that reference.
Like there's so many little like references to past movies and like science fiction cinema. Like it's very, very deep.
No, that's probably why this movie is so loved to this day.
Oh yeah, I've seen this movie probably into triple digits, and I swear every time I watch it, I notice something different.
So we have to watch it again. Mike.
I could watch this again. I plan to be high next time, have an edible, but I do want to see this again.
That might be fun though.
That'd be more fun than watching Punisher Warzone high, because I didn't remember anything that happened in that damn movie. So.
Swear to God.
I didn't remember anything while I was high, and then I
talking
rewatched
shit.
it.
You had to rewatch it?
Yeah, 'cause I didn't remember the movie because I was high and I forgot everything.
You didn't remember your wife making fun of it?
I remember that part. That was about it, though. Ken made me appreciate that movie a lot more. It was weird. I was listening to when I was editing the episode. I'm like, wow,
Friends anyway.
he made me appreciate this movie.
That's enough.
I still need to see it. I have to keep my promise. That was one of the ones I had to miss. I'll keep my promise.
You will like it, Bill. It's your kind of movie.
I still have the messenger thread. I will comment. I'll resurrect it once I do see it. And
It's gruesome and it's your kind of movie.
yay,
Yeah.
yay!
I love it.
People heads. It's great.
Is it emotionally destroying?
Not like this.
No, what?
No, I think to me it's just horribly violent.
Okay.
Letting
Yeah, it's just horribly violent, and you get to see a guy go in a bottle crusher and get all crushed up, and his face is all messed up.
I don't want to get spoiled on this joyful experience, but yeah. But we're
Okay,
talking
you'll
about
like it.
this joyful experience.
This was a joyful experience, though.
It was.
One thing was very interesting to me when we were watching it last night is when you see it live in a theater, and that's kind of your only experience with it, when people are acting it out, there's so many parts where there's down moments where not a lot of things are happening, so people aren't really commenting on it. And so it's in the live theater, or at least my experience as a teenager, that was when people were just they were talking, they were gossiping, they were having the overly dramatic breakups. It was just all of that experience. And I was sitting there watching it and I was like, I don't remember any of this. And I was like, I've seen this hundreds of times. How do I not know what is happening? And I was like, I was too busy like gossiping or crying or something.
Having some sort of emotion. Yeah, and I can see that being a communal experience. You would, a lot of this stuff will kind of wash over you because you're in community with other people and you're enjoying it together. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and the slower parts, because the movie has slower parts.
But that's when you talk to the people next to you and meet them.
Yeah, and have the
like what I
overly
did.
dramatic crying breakups. That's what you do.
That's how you're supposed to do Shadowcast.
I don't talk to no one in the Shadowcast we go to. I just sit there quietly and watch the movie.
Embrace the community, Mike.
That's it.
Ah.
That's it, Mike. Come on.
I'm only social
Yo.
when it has a microphone and I can't be seen, but I'm social.
This is
Mike,
All
we've
right.
all heard the Sin City episode. We know. Just embrace it.
I don't even remember everything I've said, but I think I know what you're referring to.
That's it. I'm driving up to Minnesota this summer. I'm gonna
Yeah,
make
Come to
some up.
Austin, man.
Let me know.
Come to
Mhm.
Austin. They have one every month at the aforementioned Southwest Theater in Lakeline. Again, it's 10 minutes away from our house, Jane. Hop, skip, and a jump.
I'm good.
So
Well, we could go
road trip.
alone.
Road trip.
Yeah.
Hey, you're welcome, Keith, if you want to come up. That was on purpose this time. Didn't work the same.
Hurt when I put him in heels now.
Yeah, we're like parents. We're just lame.
Oh, a
Imagine
random
us-
thing that
Imagine this one question. Imagine us rolling up to the Rocky Horror Picture Show Shadowcast in our Honda Odyssey. Let's go. Hey, just get the diaper bag out the back because we're hello youth.
That's where we have the bread.
Right, you need a diaper bag to bring all the props.
Oh man.
Another thing I was thinking of, which like when during the end part when Barry Bostwick and I can't remember the Rockies also dressed up in high heels. I was thinking of RuPaul again. He's like, oh, they could walk in high heels. Okay, I don't know. Like I said, watch
I
away from much
had
RuPaul.
the entire cast casted from RuPaul's Drag Race. Drag Queens.
Mhm.
I was looking at the shoes and I was like, are those from Payless?
I mean, it had
Probably.
so probably.
Looks like a heel, feels like a sneaker. Come on.
And all the glitter. I mean, maybe 0.6 of that $1.6 million went to just glitter, glitter and accessories. But yeah, the style in this movie is actually really cool too. I mean, Jaime has worked in fashion for 10 years. I worked in fashion for 7. And so we appreciate, kind of the art of fashion. I do. I personally do. And I love the styling of it. All the styling is super cool, just from that perspective.
That's cool. No, I mean the style. I thought the style was pretty cool. I mean, I have no eye for any of that stuff, or it's not my thing. But I did like the way everything looked in this movie. I can say that. I really did. And I felt like it fit a lot to what was going on too, very well. Like just having like Frankfurter change he goes from his his drag outfit to then having like the apron on and then switching back to drag as the movie progresses. For just I don't know, for a lot of weird things that really made me laugh and I enjoyed more than I thought I would in the film.
It's a good time.
No, I didn't think I would at all. I came in this movie with no interest and no anticipation. And I left like, okay, this was fun.
Well, one thing I really thought was interesting, forgive me if Bill, did I already talk? When Bill and I were driving today, he brought up the theater aspect of it. And I had no idea that this was in theater before it was a movie. And I when he told me that, I was like, wow, that just makes so much sense, because there were certain scenes and cutscenes that would be perfect on a stage that were kind of disjointed as an adult that, has had a bit more experience with movies. Thank you, Bill. That I didn't really see before. And now seeing it from that perspective, I was like, man, this must have been an amazing theater production, because there's so many cool things you could do with that.
Yeah, like I said, I really would love to see this as a play, as a musical on stage. I think it would translate beautifully and make a lot more sense as far as, again, this is basically the sound. This looks like the play on screen. Just the fact, like Jane pointed out earlier when we were driving, the fact that Frankfurter comes down and goes up in the same prop, right? That's a very theater thing, right? Using what you have to make a scene work. But yeah, I would definitely love to see that in here. Yeah.
Any other
Right.
things you guys want to add that we haven't said yet?
I think I'm ready to put put it in the shelf stacker box, Mike. Not to be.
Oh, one last thing I forgot to mention. I just want to say, the house gets teleported in the end. And they go back to where the aliens came from. We did? Oh, I don't know where I was. Okay, you're right. Let's go to shelf stacker box.
Well, I have a question real quick before we go to shelf stacker box. Why couldn't their people do the time warp when they were gone? Because the brother and sister were like, and our people will do the time warp again. Why couldn't they?
I'm like thinking really hard.
I've always assumed that line was just a reference to their people that were there in the castle, because I'm not sure how many of the guests were also members of their race. And so as long as they've been there on Earth, they haven't been able to do the time warp because that would take them off to where they don't need to be. And so now going home, everyone who's there with them is now able to do that again.
I like it. I'll accept that as truth.
Accepting it as truth, for sure.
All right. Yeah. And we'll go to shelf stacker box. And Ken, what about you?
Oh, God. Is there something higher than shelf?
Because you want to grade it so Richard Sampson has to put it on the list? Go right ahead.
Display,
Put
maybe.
it in the vault.
Yeah. Hanging on a wall, because this is a Sanity household favorite. Like, we watch this movie regularly. Own it on DVD, Blu-ray, digital.
Got the fancy, what is ours? The 35th anniversary, which has got a bunch of shadow casting plus options that show you the fun stuff you're supposed to throw and say so that you can show it to virgins and they know what's going on.
Ours did not have that.
No. Ours was a cheap DVD sent from Amazon.
That's okay.
Yeah, Amazon.
You didn't
and what
have
about you, Minx?
Subtitle track for the
I mean, same. Yeah. It's display if I can, but yeah, shelf, this is regular. Used to put it on. We watched it obsessively when we put it on. Now it's a couple times a year. Got to make sure we watch this.
And what about you, Bill?
I am going to stack this. I like this a lot. Now let me, before everyone throws laser pointed pitchforks at me, before you do that.
Too late.
Yeah, thanks. I like this quite a bit. I think this is a lot of fun. I had a great time watching it last night with Jaime. I had a great time watching her curse to it, as you would in the Shadowcast, and say all the filthy things that you normally would say to this. I think the music is fantastic. I like the performances. Tim Curry is just glorious. But I don't know if this is something I would put on the regular. And in the spirit of shelf stacker box, I would like to trot this out maybe, I don't know, every couple of years, maybe around Halloween or something, put it on the rotation. I think that'd be a lot of fun. But it's just not the kind of thing that would just go on my shelf. And it's more of a gut feel than anything else. But I do 100% respect this movie. And I absolutely get and appreciate why it's so beloved, because it means a lot to a lot of people. I just don't think it means a super ton to me. I don't think I'm the target audience. But yeah, I'm still going to stack it. I'm not going to box it. But yeah, that's kind of my where I'm landing on it.
Okay. And Jaime?
Oh, that's a hard one. I think for now, I'm going to have to stack it. Okay, Bill, explain to me the 3 levels again. You explained it to me earlier, and I was like,
I tried that.
I have to do what?
So shelf is you put it on your shelf. This is something you love, and you're going to just put it on the shelf to be displayed. So that's like flying your flag when people come over. Stack means you're going to put it in a box somewhere, but it's accessible in case you want to see it. And then in the
like
box,
my copy.
Right, yeah, if you don't know where it is. And then box means you're throwing it into a box in the middle of the garage underneath some old papers, or in a box in a dumpster.
Oh yeah, we have that before too. We really hated some stuff.
Yes. God.
Well, I think for at the moment, I'm going to have to go with stack, which very clearly means to me, because like one of the things that really came through in watching this movie is the nostalgia that I very much love and the history behind it. But there's also a lot of hurt and heartbreak around what happened during that time, and to a lot of people that were very dear to me at that time. I mentioned some of the things earlier of, going out to dinner with people and what happened to them. And so I think I'm going to have to go with stack and maybe have some therapy and then maybe move it. But right now it's just kind of like, it's still nostalgic. I love it. I will absolutely, sing the time warp and, you don't put your hands on your hips, you put your hands on your tits. That's what you do. And that's what's just going to happen. But I'll have to go with Stack for now. And I'll have some therapy and then we'll talk about it in maybe a year.
All right. And what about you, Tiffany?
I would put it on the shelf. It's something I enjoyed watching, even though I haven't seen it in forever. I enjoyed watching it. I watched it again. Let's go watch it again right now.
No, I don't have enough time to get high before I want to go to sleep. So no, not tonight. But at some point, yes. All right, and I'll go last. I'm going to put this in the stack. I came into this thinking I was going to box it, but the more we talked about it, the more I appreciated and realized I had a good time. Like, I did enjoy the movie. I was just got too much shit going on this week. I was like, I got to hurry up, watch this and get to bed and do this. And so it didn't. But yes, I'm definitely going to rewatch this again soon after doing an edible and just to get that experience because I want to. And I won't remember it, and that's okay. I don't have to record about it. So, but go on the stack because I had fun.
And go to a movie theater and see it. And with people acting it out because that's just the best.
I'm going to try. When I see this on something, I'm going to definitely go see it in the theater. So I've been trying to do that and go see old movies in theaters again whenever they give a chance, like classics that I want to see again. Like, that wasn't theater, that was Shadowcast. I wouldn't go and see that in theater. I saw it once theater, that's good enough. Shadowcast was perfect.
You won't let me go see Jurassic Park.
We're going to see a Shadowcast, though, doesn't that count?
No. It'll be fun, but no, that doesn't count because I never saw it.
You can forget that ever happened, okay?
No, I don't forget that.
Yeah, no. It doesn't work that way.
You never saw Jurassic Park in a theater?
I didn't either.
I don't think I did, no.
I didn't. I
What?
didn't see it in theaters. No.
What?
I told the
terrified
story.
movie.
Honestly,
I told the story when we did the Jurassic Park episode.
I can't remember, but I don't think I did.
Yeah, we had the chance, and I didn't buy tickets.
It was during COVID when they brought back all the old movies, and I said, come on, let's go watch Jurassic Park. No, he didn't want to. He wanted to be a COVID person and stay in his house.
Yeah.
And that's before he worked from home.
Or I was recording all the time. I'm not sure which one was going on that day. Yeah, I recorded a lot. All right. And Bill, where can people find you at?
Oh, I do a very the exact opposite of this show.
Yeah.
Not this show, this movie. If this movie is, I'm the Mr. Rogers, I think, of video game podcasts at this point. I do a charming, heartwarming show called The Gamer Looks at 40, where myself and a cast of probably at least 80 different people have been on this show at some point or other. Talk about their history of video games from their personal perspectives with their personal recollections. And it's just a real nostalgia fest. So if you enjoy stories from people talking about old video games and why those games were important to them, then that is the show for you.
And just like this movie, if you like having a random narrator pop into your podcast and tell you what's going on and who's going to talk next, that's the podcast for you. So
You have a great way of distilling down
I had to make a reference.
This labor of love of mine, yes.
Well, you are right. It's completely different than what I do on
I'm
this thing.
teasing, yeah.
This is just me rambling with other people, and the editing is just...
I am not offended. Sometimes I say this on this show. I'm trying to find new ways of doing this.
All right. If you enjoyed this episode, there's over 450 other episodes of this podcast. You can find everything on Podbean if you want to support the show and vote in the polls. We have a Patreon. Right now, this whole year, I'm doing movies that Mike has never seen. Mike being, that's me. So right now, it's Blade Runner 2049, Ghostbusters 2016, Back to the Future 2, and Resident Evil Damnation.
You said 80s? No. What?
No, sequel movies.
Sequel. You didn't say that part.
Oh, well, that's fine. It doesn't matter. But you can go vote in the poll. You'll see a link to the Patreon. Little as $1, you can vote in the poll. We have one every month. Sometimes they have more polls. But
we have lots of material if it's movies Mike has never seen.
Yes, I'm noticing. And want to give a shout out to my awesome intro and outro because Helena at Hell Hasphere. You can follow her on TikTok. You'll see a link in the show notes to her TikTok. Go check her out. She's over 100K followers, so definitely go support her also. And if you want to talk with us, we do have a Discord. You'll see a link in the show notes to that too. Please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and on YouTube, audio only, but we are on YouTube. And I think that's everything I need to say. So we will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. So don't eat people. Let this meatloaf.